Do you want to know how to spend money in order to save money? In this video, I'm going to give you 7 things that I spend money on so that I can save money. Stick around because you do not want to miss this. Welcome, I'm Amy, and here at Frugal Over 50, I give you tips and tools for frugal living, all personally tested by me. Now let's get right to it. What are the 7 things that I spend money on in order to save money? Number 1. I spend money on a budget program. Yes, that's right. I spend money in order to budget. Let me tell you why I do this. I used to try to budget on my own, using my computer, using a pen and paper, using all kinds of things. I read books about it. I tried to understand it. I never could make it work. I was constantly running out of money. I could never plan. I was shocked by expenses that would come up every year at the same time. I was so surprised every single time. I couldn't understand why, if I put something on my credit card, I couldn't pay it off the next month. I was truly offended by this state of affairs, and I had no idea what to do about it. I also had no understanding of the relationship between the money that I was earning, the stuff that I was buying, and the stuff that I had in my house, and the debt that I kept accumulating without understanding why or how. 5 years ago at this time, I would not have been a great person to talk to you about budgeting, except to say, I have no idea. I don't understand it. It makes no sense. I honestly felt quite a bit of despair about it. And then I discovered a budgeting program that really works for me. It's called You Need a Budget. I talk about it here all the time. I'll leave a referral link below if you'd like to try it. The reason it works for me in particular is twofold. One is it provides a specific program on my computer where I can just plug in my money, and it helps me to see what I've spent, it helps me to plan what I'm going to spend, and it helps me to set priorities for the future. It also helps me take care of things that come up that are unexpected in a way that doesn't put me into more debt unless I realize, oh, that's a bad one, I really do have to go into debt. Do you see what I mean? Now, there are other programs besides You Need a Budget that can do this for you, including some free ones. Some of you whose brains work a little bit better with money can probably do this with a pencil and paper or crayon and napkin or just in your heads to a certain extent. And I admire that. I am not that kind of person. And spending money on a yearly subscription for You Need a Budget has saved me hundreds and thousands of dollars over the 5 years that I have been using it. If you're looking for something to try, you can try it free for 34 days using the referral link that I have below. But if you're not wanting to spend money, I would recommend that you look around for free budgeting programs and see what's out there, because there are lots of wonderful programs out there that cost different amounts of money or no amounts of money. But please don't despair. Take care of your budget and your budget will take care of you. Number 2, I spend money on electric toothbrushes for my whole family. This is something that every time I go out to buy the electric toothbrush heads, I get a little nauseated. They are so expensive. The electric toothbrushes are so expensive. But our dental checkups are so much cheaper because we spend money on the electric toothbrushes. Most people in most parts of the world don't have great dental care plans. The insurance wherever you live may pay for certain things, but not a lot of things. And of course, some of what happens with our dental health comes from genetics, and you can't help that. But anything that we can do to keep our teeth and to keep our teeth healthy is something that I'm going to spend money on. An electric toothbrush makes a huge difference. If you haven't tried one yet, I would encourage you to just go to the store and start browsing around, look at reviews for them. They really do make a difference in the health of your teeth, and I spend money on them. I spend money on them reluctantly, but I spend money on them regularly, and they really make a huge difference in our dental bills and our dental health. Number 3, I spend money on regular auto maintenance. I buy used cars and I keep them forever. Right now I'm driving a 15-year-old Honda, and I expect to keep it for a good little while longer. I'm actually saving up money planning to get a, say, 5 to 10-year-old Honda in the next couple of years, but not right away. And every 6 months I take it in to get the oil changed, to get the tires rotated, to get the recommended service done. Recommended service has kept my Honda going for 15 years, and yes, it costs money. Sometimes it costs a lot of money. But it costs a whole lot less than buying a new car every 2 or 3 years, and so I keep my car in the best tip-top shape that I can. And I'd like to take a minute to say a special thank you to all of you who are new here. The channel has grown so much in the last few months, and it just continues to grow. So if you have recently discovered the channel, please do subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll get notified first of new videos. Another thing I'd like to ask is that you give this video a like and then share it with some friends. Let's spread the word about frugal living. Now let's get right back to it. Number 4, I spend money on stocking up my pantry and my household goods. This is a new one for me. Before March 2020, I would have said to you that I never stock up. I consider the store to be my pantry and I can go and buy things whenever I need them. That hasn't proved to be necessarily true since March 2020, and I have learned from some of you specifically how to stock up so that I'm not trying to keep a year's worth of everything in my house, but so that I could get through a couple of weeks without having to leave the house. And I've learned how to stock up gradually so that every time I go to the store, I buy one thing for now and one thing for later. Buy an extra can, buy an extra bag, buy an extra jug, and I just have one or two extras. This expense makes me feel much more peaceful when I look to the future, and that's really important to me. We live in troubled times, my friends, and anything that can help us feel more peaceful as we look ahead, I think is a good thing. And having just those extra cans of salmon in the pantry, and those extra bags of flour in the freezer, and that extra bottle of laundry detergent in the laundry room, these things all make a huge difference in my peace of mind. I don't spend over my grocery budget. I just buy a little bit extra every time I go, and I stock up gradually. It makes such a difference. If you haven't tried it, I recommend it. If you are a person with a long history of stocking up, tell me how you do it down in the comments. Number 5, I spend money on travel. Honestly, I haven't spent money on travel in the last several months, but I have money that is allotted for travel, and I spend it twice a year in times when it's possible to do that. The travel takes us to visit family members. The travel takes us to visit friends. The travel takes us to visit places that we can't see when we're right here at home. And it's important to me. I'm the sort of person that will spend money on travel instead of, say, home decor. I'll spend money on travel instead of a new car. I'll spend money on travel instead of just about anything. And the reason that this enriches is because I would like to travel more once everybody in my household is grown and gone. And our regular travel, once or twice a year, opens doors to the future for us. It introduces us to people and to places where we could go and have friends and have connections and have possibilities out in the world that we can't have just in our small town if we never left it. So I spend money on travel. I'm curious, do you spend money on travel? How do you account for that in your budget? How do you account for that in your plans for your future? If you don't spend money on travel, what do you do instead? What do you spend your money and your time with? Some people love homesteading and they don't really go anywhere because they're making their home, their universe, and their world. Are you one of those people? Tell me all about it down below. Number 6, our family spends money on education. Now that doesn't mean that I have my children in private schools, for instance. It does mean that I pay for piano lessons and dance lessons, and when I want to learn something new, I take a class in it and I pay for it. And so we have money allotted for education. We also have been saving for the children's college, and there's a college fund there. We've been really fortunate to have access to education, not just in the public schools, but also in private settings. So things like piano lessons and dance lessons and art classes are actually possible for us. And it's been a wonderful way to expand and deepen the education that you get at school. It also helps me in my life because I am a teacher in my day job, and so I'm always teaching people things and telling people things. And for me to spend money on a class where I learn something new, it's just wonderfully enriching for the brain. And all of these things lead to possibilities for the future. As a teacher, I'm always going to tell you that more education is better. You always want to be careful not to overspend, especially in these days of huge college loans. I strongly encourage you, as a person who teaches at a college, to remember this. If the college really wants you, they can help you get there. But education does matter, and I encourage you to spend money on it too. Number 7, I spend money preparing for my retirement. I really love what I do, and I don't anticipate that I will entirely stop teaching at any point in my life. If I can teach something, I'm just always going to do that because I really enjoy it. You can see that from this channel. I'm basically giving you lessons, and I often have people comment that they'd like to take notes. People have asked if I would start a course, and in fact stick around because I am preparing a course that I can offer to you sometime in the new year. So if you're interested, tell me down below in the comments. But I really believe in planning for the future and planning for a day when I may not want to work all the time. Or I might just want to work for fun. I might just want to choose projects that I enjoy. That means retirement. And that means that I have to save for it. Those of us who are women over 50, we probably are thinking hard about retirement. If you're watching this and you're younger, I know there are a lot of you who are younger watching, and I'm so glad. Make sure that you're planning and preparing for retirement. Instead of buying that latte today, put that $5 in your retirement account. Put it in your Roth IRA. Put it in your 401k. Just put it in a savings account so that you can decide later. Because the sooner you start saving for retirement, even small amounts will grow and grow and grow over time. And retirement doesn't mean anything you don't want it to mean. It just means that you're financially independent and you don't have to rely on working in order to survive. And it's a wonderful goal. A lot of people are actually aiming for early retirement these days. Financial independence and retiring early are a big subject for the millennials. And I kind of missed the boat on that one. But I definitely think about retirement planning. And I am thinking about Social Security. I am thinking about my pension. I am thinking about my 457 plan. I am thinking about an IRA. And it's a, for me, fairly complex way to look at retirement, but necessary because I plan on living for a while. And I'd like to live as well as possible and as frugally as possible. So when I spend money planning for retirement, I know that I'm taking care of my 70-year-old self, my 80-year-old self, my 90-year-old self, right now in my 50s. And that makes me feel great. Now I'd like to just point out that in all of these 7 things that I spend money on, the key, the whole point of the thing is to spend now in order to benefit future me. Everything that I'm spending now takes care of me, not just in this exact moment in time, but also takes care of the future. And I would encourage you to think about your spending in the same way. How does this expense take care of future me? Wherever you are right now on your frugal living journey, I want you to know that I am so proud of you. Take the next step. Whatever your next step on your frugal living journey is, take that next step. And I want you to know that you are not alone. Live frugally, change your life, and you can change the world. I can't wait to see you again soon. Bye-bye.